So I was told in the middle of my day, oh, Zach got picked at World, so I was able to watch the game, but not entirely. I was doing something in the background, so I was only able to watch key moments of the game. Plus, yeah, I thought it would be really interesting if I just gave my opinion on Cuzz gameplay. So I'm probably... unfortunately, we won't have the point of view from the player himself.
Actually, I don't know. We'll be right.
Also, I'm gonna turn down the volume because I don't want the caster comments on top of this. Okay, so first of all, he's starting topside, which makes a lot of sense, right? You want to play bot lane. It's ADC meta. So also they are playing on patch 13.19 if I'm not mistaken. So the jungle changes are not there yet, which means the camps are not as much as tanky, and Darcel didn't get a buff yet, so... And ADCs are broken. He's starting Raptors, and... Well, first, I'm gonna tell you why I hate Raptor starts on ZAC. Like, there are some advantages of this. Is that after your full clear, you're guaranteed to get your Bammies. The problem is... you're going to have your next full clears completely messed up. Second clear will be pretty bad, and third clear will be horribly synced. So if, like, we will compare this, but if Maokai just full clear normally over and over and over, the Maokai will naturally have more CS than the ZAC player, because the ZAC will be forced to do a weird pathing during his third clear. So it's basically good when you don't plan to only farm. And I mean, unfortunately, this game will see that both junglers go 0-0-0 for a very long time. So it will not pay off at all. Also, he's doing... What? He's doing Raptors, Red Krugs. Okay, usually when you do this pathing, you'd rather go Raptors, Krugs, Red, and then the rest. Because here, I mean, unless he wants to gank top, level 3, which you don't really do as ZAC, you never want to do this. So I think that's a first mistake. I would say it's like subjective if he wants to start Raptors and then do the Raptors Krugs in the full clear, then Raptors Krugs again before backing. I feel like that's a bit subjective because there are some advantages and inconvenience. Advantages is that you have a better first back, so you have a better first 5 minutes. Inconvenient is you have a terrible third clear. But here it's just straight up bad because you lose just too much time between Krugs and Wolves. So yeah, only reason you would do this is if you want to level 3 gank, which is trolling as ZAC, pretty much. Unless you have a cheese strategy. Or unless you think you're going to get invaded or something. But you don't have a pressure against Maokai matchup. Anyway, here he has nothing to do. The best thing he can do here is to use ward in enemy jungle. Plus maybe a gank / counter gank mid lane. So he's gonna ward really deep. Oh, he's not gonna drop it. Oh, he dropped it. Never mind. And yeah, okay, yeah, well, that's fine. Like, he can't do anything. Like, here, as ZAC, you just can't get anything. So he needs to get to his Raptors anyway because of his pathing. So that's just he's passing by mid lane. He's passing by mid lane pretty much, which doesn't change well. Then he goes Raptors. He does Raptors. Goes Krugs. In bases, okay. Now he's back to Wolves. And yeah, I feel another problem of this first clear that I dislike is that you are just late in tempo. Like here, for example, if you do a normal full clear, you're back top lane again, and you can't gank. With this pathing, you're forced to be even more passive. What I like about full clearing normally is that you get 30 seconds before your first back if you want to get your camps on spawn. Here you don't get any time. You have to full clear, then get your camps, then you get your camps again. And like you have time when you're level 5, but it's just very late. Okay, he gets his wolves. Now he ignores his Gromp, okay, to get a mid gank. Like if he sees an opportunity that's worth it. Jace has flash. Like here, there's no. I feel there's no real angle. Okay, he forced the flash. Like there is a big difference here because I review this from a solo queue standpoint. Like from a solo queue perspective, you know, walking all this distance and not getting Gromp for a mid lane flash is never going to be worth it because the games are so much more chaotic, right? Like a flash here is not valued a lot in solo queue. In competitive, it's valued much more because teams are able to cooperate to abuse this flash cooldown much more effectively. Plus, the games are much less chaotic, so every single advantage has more influence on the game overall. So that's why, like, here I see the big difference between team play and solo queue. Like, that's why it's two different games entirely. I would never do this in solo queue, but in competitive, it's like very worth it because of the difference. Like flash is much more important, especially on an immobile champion like Jace. And now they're able to get Drake. Here I think I would. Okay, they cancel Drake because there is a call on this. Like the thing is, here it's a team call, so we can't really. It's not the decision of the ZAC player. They get Rel instead of Drake. They don't get anything actually. I think it's a team mistake. But that they thought they would get their bot lane, so who are we to judge, right? Now he's forced to base. So here, the thing is, ZAC is already losing his jungle matchup because of a decision he made. So he decided to skip the Grom to get mid lane flash, which is okay, like it's worth it in competitive. Then he decided to lose time on the Drake to get it. Then their team decided to call something bot lane. So he lost even more time. Basically, the time he lost on Drake was not... it was pure time loss, right? It didn't lead to anything. They got a flash on Rel, but they lost even more time. So here, the bill is that ZAC has already sacrificed himself for his team before he was even level 6. So I think here it's a bit both the ZAC player and his team not really understanding when the champion is supposed to be powerful. Because if they did the same exact thing when ZAC was already level 6, they would have gotten a much bigger advantage. Right? Like, they would have been able to maybe kill the Jace because ZAC has R. Even if Jace had flash, they might have been able to dive bot lane, right? They are 4 bot lane coming on bot lane. They might have been able to dive him. So here, the problem is since they don't abuse the right timing to play. Like here, they are making a huge play when ZAC is a weak champion. Well, Maokai has a big advantage here because he's like, I don't know what the Maokai did during this time. I think he pretty much full cleared, and like the playmaking was just not rewarded at all, and that is to be expected when you're having a ZAC jungle. Like here, I feel like this type of decision making as a team or as a player, right? I think the decision making as ZAC here is to not get Gromp and gank mid. I think that's a call of the ZAC player. And the Drake call into the switch on bot lane is kind of a teamed call. But anyway, we don't really care about whether it's ZAC's decision or the team decision. Here, it's both ZAC and team mistake to basically play on a timing where the champion is not strong. And you use precious time, so here you use a full minute, and now the ZAC player will be forced to farm his jungle, because else he's just going to be just out-leveled by 1 billion. And if he just kept full clearing before doing this huge play, right now, he would have a whole minute to do plays on the map. And I think that's... like, the enemy team is going to take a bit of an advantage here because of that. ZAC is still not level 6, and he's trying to cross map. That's barely gonna work, I think. Well, they can't even get the eye. Top lane. We can't even see what's happening, but they don't even get the eye. And here, like, okay, ZAC got level 6. They denied the rift. They got really lucky here, by the way. So, basically, here it's not that enemy team was able to pressure the ZAC early game to prevent him from... Oh, my camera is covering the map. That's so bad, actually. Well, I hope... Oh my god, that's so bad for the video, and I need to change this. Whoops. Do I review again? I don't know. Were you guys able to understand like half I was saying? So yeah, as I was saying, here it's not that ZAC got abused early game, which caused him to be behind and not use his champ effectively. Is that his team basically purposefully put the ZAC behind at a timing that where he's not strong, and it's not like there's no reason to use the ZAC time at this moment, because now he was forced to full clear to, you know, do a react play like Rift Herald. He has 0 proactivity because he's already behind, and he's level 6, but he's still forced to clear again. Whereas if he kept his high tempo, kept clearing, and made himself unavailable for his team, or at least not as available, right? Maybe you can gank mid, but then you don't do the Drake, or you don't do the bot side thing. Here he would have so much time to snowball. Like, here as ZAC, on this timing, you can imagine a dive on the rail, right? Even if she had flash. Here, do you care about the Jayce flash that was used earlier? Not really. Do you care about the rail flash that was used earlier? Not really, because you don't need to have the flash down to get some kills when ZAC is level 6. Here, you probably have the info that Maokai is top. I mean, I don't know, but usually the teams have info, right? Like Rel has vision in enemy jungle. I don't know if there are pings that are coming from the enemy blue team, but I would imagine that they have the info of Maokai topside. If they have the info here, it's an immediate dive if the ZAC still has his time from the early game. But since everybody stole his time, he doesn't have time left to snowball on. I mean, I'm saying snowballing, but it's just to carry, because this is the point in the game where you're the strongest. You just got level 6. You can dive a rel like that. Not many champions can do this. Okay, well, oh, that's a replay. Okay, they're replaying this. So here he finishes his camps. Now he really wants to play. He really wants to play because the ZAC player is really strong at this point. So they should look for a fight. They should look for ganks. Actively. Okay, okay. Now he's seen. He should have swapped his trinkets. Really. You absolutely need to have red trinket as ZAC when you're level 6. Before level 6, you don't necessarily need it, but when you're level 6, you absolutely need it. I think there's no real debate on that. But like here we pretty much see why, because he doesn't have a gank opportunity, especially in competitive, I would say. Okay, now I think here that's kind of a lack of knowledge, because the problem is Xayah is a counter champion. If you try to Q auto the Xayah, he just has to ult. So here he cannot flash, because if he flashes on the Xayah will just press R, and you're fucked up, because the ZAC's Q will get cancelled by Xayah R, because it's first a root, then a knockup. So he can't flash on her. So here the only... so first, he could have waited this wave to get the Xayah. Here you just have to look at your wave. So he could have just kept walking. And if he really wants to play for auto on Xayah, he should Q this wave and Q the Xayah, because if he Qs this, then Xayah is over 700 range from the CS, so she will not get fully knocked up against this CS. So you don't get the full knock-up advantage. If you manage to knock up two targets that are less than 700 units from each other, you get the full knock-up, the full damage, and that's more CC. On top of this, if you keep walking after the Xayah, maybe she will try to dodge the spells you can throw at her. So you have more opportunity to get closer, to get in auto range without needing to flash. Here, I think overall nothing can happen. Maybe the only thing that would happen here, in my opinion, would be R flash. So the problem, as I said against Xayah. Oh, first, there's something I didn't even mention. You never want to E from this bush as ZAC. You can E from there. So if this bush is not warded, you can walk here, do a little circle like that, end up in the basically middle point between in this wall. So that's about where my mouse is, and you will not be seen by the vision from this bush, and you will not be seen either by the wave. So here, as you can see in the minimap, Xayah is behind this line, so she can't see if an enemy player is here, and the CS will never be able to see this. So here as ZAC, you always want to get all the way here, so you have more range. And with additional range, you have more chance to hit your E because there is less travel time, so enemy has less time to react. Plus, you can have more advantageous angles. And by that, I mean you can E from behind to force Xayah ult already. So maybe then, after the Xayah ult, you can do something else. In general, it's just better. And here, from this angle, I would say there is a flash, an R flash opportunity. It's the only way to really engage 100% secure against Xayah is to press R flash, because the Xayah player doesn't have time to react and press R, because it's an instant knock-up. Contrary to Q spell, which is first a root, or E, which has a long travel time, you can't react here to R flash. And I think if she R flashes here, the Xayah is just already dead. Even if she presses R afterwards, because she's going to take a big burst from ZAC ult plus Xayah, WQ, auto, whatever. And after Xayah ult, well, Xayah still have Q to kill her. So I think it's a kill here, if he R flashes. So here it's a kill opportunity missed. After that, they are in the position where it's kind of sad that we don't get red team view, to be honest, because we can't have a very subjective review. Here, after failing a gank, since enemy had your position, you probably don't want to overstay. I would say here, you don't have mid prio, you are about to lose bot prio. I'm not sure they are going to be able to contest Drake, especially because they are playing against Maokai. The Champions has a really good the saplings, so you can't really... Once enemy team has the position with Maokai, you can't really contest an objective, especially with no prio. So I think here they have to let the Drake, and that means the ZAC player just has to base immediately. So I think this is overstaying, because I don't see how they... Okay, they have the TP, so maybe that's something I... Yeah. That's something I oversaw. Okay. So they are losing the team fight, but they had the TP. So now, considering that they have the TP, there is a call here that they want to contest this objective with Talia TP. Well, first, Talia should TP. I mean, not really. She can't really TP on ZAC passive, unfortunately, because she has to be there when the engage is happening. That's the problem. Here, the problem is the Talia TP comes a little bit after the engage. So they should sync. So that's a team mistake. They should sync ZAC engage with Talia TP. And now for ZAC mistake in particular, the problem here is that he's against Maokai and Xayah. So he should never E in this situation. That's whether you're in solo queue, like at least as long as you're master rank, maybe below master you can get away with it. But whether it's solo queue, master plus, or team play, you should never E on Xayah with ultimates. Because you're just losing your engage for free, allowing Xayah to reposition herself, sorry. And you're just going to get one shot and have very little opportunity. If Maokai wasn't here, I would say maybe there's a world where you do this, because as long as you don't get your E cancelled, maybe you can, you know, after Xayah ult, you can maybe R flash again. The problem here is that I think he's just getting full CC'd. That's just what happened. He used flash as well. So I would say, in this situation, you probably want to start with R flash again. Like, you're playing against full counters. You're playing against K'Sante, Maokai. Even Jace is somewhat a counter because he can cancel your E. Xayah, Rel, like you can't start with E against this comp. You either start with Q flash R, or even if you want to aim for the Xayah, you have to start with R flash. So in this case, you need to get away. You can like first gap close with a E and then R flash, but then you need to be away from the range of these dudes. So in this case, you can probably E on the side, I would say, since he needs to reposition himself here. So you could probably here in this spot. So then, well, first the enemies will get surprised by that because they are expecting the engage probably on the Xayah player. Then he lands before Maokai W lands, so he's not rooted on the place he lands. So he's able to R flash before getting CC'd. And Rel is probably too far, so unless enemy has very good reaction, maybe at the Worlds it doesn't work. But at least in solo queue and in lower level games in the Worlds, it will always work to E on the side and then R flash. Here, I see that, to me that's the only angle you can have. Or, other option is to let the Rakan engage, so you let Rakan flash R and W. That's probably what should have happened here. Here, Rakan should have just RW all of these, and then you use the ZAC as an engage on top of the first engage. You use, you know, you use the consistent engage, and only after that you use the harder engage. Like, ZAC is really more useful if you have a 100% engage in your team, like a Rel that uses R flash, or a Malphite ultimate, or a Rakan RW, or whatever. Anything that's, or Nautilus R, anything that's 100% success rate, you should use the ZAC engage after the first 100% success engage, right? So, especially against this comp, right? They have very bad champions for ZAC, so ZAC is much more useful if you use it after the first engage. Okay, so yeah, it just, you can't do anything with this. So it's really two mistakes in one, or maybe even three. Maybe even three. First, did you really want to contest this Drake in this situation against Maokai when you don't have the priors? So that's kind of the first mistake, even though that's maybe subjective. Second mistake, you don't let the Rakan... there are actually 4 mistakes. You don't let the Rakan engage first. So you let the ZAC engage second. And yeah, here the ZAC player engages first, which is bad in this situation, as we said. Overall, it's bad because it's not 100% engage. Then you have Talia TP that's too late, so the engage is not synced with Talia popping. And fourth, the engage of ZAC itself could have been better if you just E on the side and then R flash just to... Or like maybe he could E on Maokai and then R flash on this guy, right? But he, by traveling all this time, he allows the enemy to react. And then he just gets instantly CC'd when he lands, which would not be the case if he tries to E on the side or E closer to the wall. Okay, we reviewed that. Then, when you spawn from the base, you just need to farm. That's what he does. He skips Krogs, I guess, for tempo. Okay, now he doesn't have ult, but he almost has it. Okay, well, that's a shame. He had 10 seconds on R. It still works. It still works. I don't really have much to say on this because it's good timing. They have vision everywhere. It's just Realm disrespecting that enemy team has ZAC. It's good Q. Maybe bad kiting here. Maybe. Here, I would say you don't kite towards this. Try to kite towards it. You get this blob, but after getting this blob, you want to kite closer to their turret. Like here, he went just a little bit too upwards. That's the only mechanical mistake I see. Okay, and now he has R, so they can dive the Xayah. Really. They should probably play for this. Or, yeah, kill the Maokai, but do something. Okay. So here it's not really normal that enemy Maokai is able to react. Okay. So here we have a problem. We're getting to later in the game. So here, ZAC auto attacks don't matter as much. Early game, as ZAC, you really want to maximize your auto attack. So when you land the E max range like that, you press auto attack, then Q spell. That's what he does here. He did auto Q. Okay? Because you want to maximize your damage. The problem here is by landing auto first, you delay your second CC, which enables the Maokai to react. So here, in this case, he's just going to press Q. And that's going to mess up the ZAC CC chain. And overall, the later you get in a game, the more you're going to optimize the speed of your combo over, you know, having as much as auto attacks as possible. Because auto attacks won't matter as much, and the speed execution, the execution of your combo will matter even more. So in this case, you probably don't want to maximize auto attack. So he should have Q'd immediately when landing, like buffering when he's mid-air. So here he would have been able to Q instantly. Maokai wouldn't be able to root him like that. Or even, maybe he would have been able to do it. But the ZAC player would have been able to press R with a good angle. So here, small mechanical mistake. Also, once you see that, you know, you got CC'd here, this guy is knocked up. He's knocked up twice. You don't need to press R, he's already dead. So here, it's a bit overkill. If he keeps his ult, diving Xayah would be much easier. So here, two small mechanical mistakes. First, using auto attack before Q when it's against Maokai and you don't want to maximize auto. And then pressing R and overkilling him. Like, imagine if you have R here. The guy is just dead. So here, I think in this situation, the red team is afraid that Jace comes, they have backup, and they lose the dive. So they, in this case, they don't want to wait that the waves crashes because they are too afraid. That's why the ZAC players went in E like that. Ideally, if you have time, as the red team, you want to wait that the wave crashes and then dive the Xayah, but here you just don't have the time because Jace is too scary, I guess. Was Jace that scary? Maybe, but that's kind of subjective. Okay, they replay this. He's farming his top side. Not much to say. And now they engage the rifts, which I mean, I guess they have vision, but they don't. They have top prio as well. So I see why they want to engage it. ZAC player doesn't have flash here, so the fight is going to be a bit hard. Also, Rakan doesn't have flash, and Xayah has everything. I'm not sure they really want to engage the rift, but that would be a team mistake anyway. I think the fights here are difficult, because it's hard to engage on the Xayah. But maybe I'm tripping, and they just get the rift for free. Xayah needed to base, so they just lit the rifts, okay. Maybe they had info that Xayah needs to base. But here, I really feel like, although they have top prio, it's not the fight they want to play. But I might lack the knowledge slash information. Yeah, Xayah probably needed to base. I don't know. I'm not gonna commentate on this. They use Herald mid, that's great. Oh yeah, maybe I could review the build as well. I feel like, well, first I need to go back in time. So his first base is Bami, which I don't really like. When I have above 1k and 50 gold, I buy a Ruby Crystal, Dark Seal, and Cloth Armor. That clears the jungle faster, and that kills the champion faster. And you're just more tanky. You have opportunity to farm your Dark Seal, like to stack your Dark Seal. And I think even in team, you would buy Dark Seal because the ZAC player probably will have 0 death in the game if he plays correctly. So I guess it depends on the player. If you're confident with Dark Seal, you go for this. If you're just not confident on your ZAC and you think you're going to play a more support-oriented ZAC, that's probably going to die a lot when engaging for his team, which probably is the case against this team. I imagine you don't go Dark Seal here. In solo queue, always go Dark Seal. And if you're not playing against 5 counters like that, always go Dark Seal, even in competitive, I would say. It's just, you have a stronger early, stronger mid-game, stronger everything. Like, you're clearing your jungle faster if you go for this build. I only go Bami first back when I have exactly 1k gold and less than 1k 50 gold. I just want to check what is his second back. Okay, and he doesn't have free boots in runes. I think that's kind of... I mean, I guess he has tenacity against their team, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, here, as you will see, like jungles just go 0-0 for like 11 minutes and 30 seconds. So if you're that passive in a game anyway, you don't really need the boots early game, right? I really hate rushing Lucidity boots as ZAC because you don't need the boots to engage on guys, on people. You're engaging with your E anyway. The boots doesn't change the speed of your E. You're just making yourself not tanky at all. Like here, if he had a cloth armor instead of boots, which would be my case, he would be much more tanky for this fight, and probably would have been different, to be honest. I really hate buying boots because I feel they are just not needed early game. Early game as ZAC, you really want to rush tankiness. That's also why I go magical footwear in my runes, always, because I know I'm not rushing my boots anyway. I'm only getting them after my first item. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if he has a cloth armor, it changes the fight, because this guy is knocked off, for example. He's probably able to gather some blobs. He's probably able to, you know, position himself a little bit more upwards, so his team can protect his passive better. Okay, anyway. And he's getting Lucidity boots right after using his flash. So that the value of these boots is really, really low. I would not buy them here. In general, I would not buy boots after my before my first item as ZAC jungle. You're losing tankiness, so you're just losing a lot of strength. Like, your champion will lack strength. You will get a little bit of clearing speed. That's not worth it. So you might as well skip one camp if you really want the speed. Okay, and afterwards, what is the next thing he buys? Okay, there's this move. Okay, and now he's going Radiant. I like to go Sunfire first as ZAC, because early game, you're mostly thinking physical damage. I feel like against enemy team, same thing, you're mostly thinking physical damage. And delaying your spike to that much gold is not really good in solo queue, but in team play, it's much more viable. So I don't think it's really, you know, a mistake or anything. I think going Bammies into Radiant is much more viable in team play, just because the games are much slower, much more organized. So you can allow yourself to have a first item spike way later, I think. Okay, now he has his Radiant for the second Drake. Okay. So now, what do I think about this? I think you should never try to E on Xayah. So, I think charging this E alone is bad, because if you E against Xayah, she's just gonna ult, and you already lost the fight, right? Because you're just mispositioned. You're going to at least take a big chunk in your health bar, and then you're just out. So I think his angle this game is to either find a good flash on Xayah, either R flash or Q flash if he can, or maybe he finds a good E on Jace or Rel. I don't think he had other angles, or he's playing peeling, or he's, as I said earlier, you play for an engage on top of Rakan engage. So if you want to play for a Q, here I think you need to position yourself a little bit differently. Well, in this case, you don't want to fight because your Talia is not here yet. Your Aatrox wasn't here yet, so you can't. But if you can, without being punished by the poke, you want yourself to zone the enemy by threatening them with your Q range, because your Q range is actually big, and if you connect it, you force the Xayah to R, or then she gets just engaged by QE. So that's the type of angles you want to have against counters. Okay, now like we're going to see, I mean, in this case, he E'd on other targets, but like that is why you just don't want to look for E on Xayah. Here, if there weren't these other targets, the ZAC would be inting, right? Here, he actually has a good E because he hit other targets. So here, first off, He's using an auto attack before Q, so same mistake than earlier. In this situation, you really want to focus on the combo execution. So you can't afford to auto people before your Q spell, unlike early game, as the Maokai earlier. So here you really want to Q the target that got hit by your E, so this guy. Q either the Xayah or this guy if you can't. And then press R. You don't want to use any auto attacks because you are really afraid to get CC'd during your chain. Okay. So here, unfortunately, he queued twice the same turret, so he misclicked. If he clicks on the Jace, he has an insane engage. So I think here, just to illustrate my thoughts, I'm gonna start a practice tool game just to show you guys what I mean. But here, when you have this type of engage, if you're executing your combo a certain way, you can prevent the enemy from getting knocked up by your R like this, right? Like, see here, because of your R, there is one enemy here, the Rel is here, and the Jace is here. So the enemies are really far away, they can't be hit by your AoE easily, and your team, same thing, will not be able to hit AoE against them. So, if you want to have a combo that prevents that while still applying R damage, what you need to do, so I'm gonna level up myself, is to press your R right after your Q. So in this case, if we want to reproduce the engage, so let's say here this word is the Xayah, or maybe actually I can replicate it exactly like in the game. So wait. Okay. So there was a Rel right here. Xayah was right here. And Jace was here, I think. Yeah, so that's pretty much the setup. ZAC was here. Okay, let's just allow vision on this. I mean, I'm gonna word this as well. So ZAC was here, trying to engage on them, and he was level 10, so I'm just gonna level up my E, just to make sure I have the range. Okay. So he is here, pretty much. He barely connects on the Rel. If he Qs instantly, see how I didn't knock up the enemies on the sides? That's because I used my Q, and right after the auto attack, I pressed R. So the R knockup was cancelled by the Q knockup, because the Q knockup takes a little bit of time to apply. So if I just kill the targets and put them back together, okay, let's do this again. Here I'm gonna do the same, but delay my R a little bit, so you're gonna see the difference. See, like here, the targets are knocked up from each other, and in the game it was even worse, because if you check in game, it was the worst angle possible, because Rel ended up right here. Rel ended up right here, and Jace ended up right here. So there's a big difference between this state of the game and the one where the two targets are right under your feet, getting hit by your next W's in AoE, and allowing, for example, your Talia to hit both, your Aatrox to chase both. So that's why you should really practice your combo if you're a ZAC player, to be able to cancel your R knockup with your Q. So that's how you do it. You press R right after the auto of your Q. I'm gonna illustrate for the difference once again. Here I'm gonna delay my R a little bit, and the two targets are knocked up from each other. Alright. Okay, let's keep going. So they win the fight, they get Drake. And he wants to defend the turrets, he does it. Okay, there's the replay. Now they want to play for topside vision, because 1 minute before Nash spawn. At this stage of the game, you can't farm as much as that, because you're looking for opportunities, you're looking for engages, you're looking to shadow your teammates in case they get engaged. And you're not looking for scaling as much, especially in team. Here they find a catch on the side. Unfortunately, he gets out of the bush. Oh, okay, he was looking for the bush. Yeah, they don't have info like me. I'm good at cheating with old vision. Okay, now they're looking for Kassen to catch. I don't think this is a good idea, because Nash is up, and Kassen is impossibly hard to catch. Also, there is an engage mid lane when ZAC isn't here. Yeah, I highly disagree with this. So here, I think it's yeah, I think it's just a small mistake that maybe miscommunication, but Katie was looking for a play in mid lane way before that, right? Like here, Rakan is already looking for a play with this movement. So at 21:53, they are already looking for a potential play if this rel missteps. So here, ZAC should be in E range to engage on top of Rakan engage already, right? Like, look at Rakan movement. Like here, the ZAC needs to follow the call, and I think it's just miscommunication in his team. But he's going to be a bit late because of that. Fortunately, we don't have red team vision. And then he's going to force his flash. Okay. Here, I would say as ZAC, you press R. Like, here, you want to disengage. So, if you see that somebody is going to engage on you, like if it's a Maokai that W's on you, or if it's a rel that dashes on you, you just press R, so you proc Aftershock, you increase your move speed, so after the CC ends, you're fast to get out. You get some blobs out. And also, you could look for... I mean, it CCs the enemies are knock up, so you don't take as much damage. It can threaten for counter engage if you want to flash on these guys. So here, I think as ZAC, you should press R. As a reflex, right? Like you press R before the knockup. As soon as you see that the rel is, you know, dashing on you, you react and press R. That's kind of hard. Maybe he tried and he didn't have the reaction time. That I do the mistake all the time. So you have a really short window to react. It's understandable that you don't react. That's what you should want to do, at least. Because now he's just out and he's completely useless. He can just base. I think here, if he presses R, they really have a window to counter engage. Because imagine... Okay, imagine here, right here in this state, he's about to get his second R rebound. The rel got knocked up here. The rel probably has the focus. I feel like you have a flash in the window right after the knockup. Here, unfortunately, you don't have any window because you didn't start the cast of your R, so you can't even R flash because you are not in R yet, so your R flash will not work. So kind of unfortunate. I feel like, yeah, that's really a missed opportunity. Like here, the ZAC alone can change the course of the fight if he presses R earlier. And the reason why you want to press R when you get engaged like that is just because if you don't, maybe you live and you keep your R, but you will be out anyway, so useless. Okay, here enemy team gets Drake. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the point where they start Nash. I didn't really agree with this because, I mean, to me that's kind of a team mistake, but they were confident. Maybe they were looking for fights because they knew that Xayah didn't have summoners. Probably what happened. Okay, and here ZAC got really lucky to not get cancelled. Here he has to go out earlier. But that's a mistake on any champion. That's not a ZAC review. He gets his bot games. Like overall here you're as a ZAC player, you still have a really strong engage. You're just looking to play with your Rakan. So you have a first engage that's consistent and you want to engage on top of it. That's the same spirit that you should have during the whole game, I feel like. Or you're looking for first engage yourself but with flash usage. Like positioning himself here is just useless because you will never engage on the Maokai, right? So you don't do this kind of stuff. Like here it shows that the player during this game, at this point of the game, was still looking for E-engage on champions other than Rel. Or like maybe Jace. Maybe Jace is, you can still engage and use E on him. But you never want to press E against any other champion. Because they are just counters. So that's why I feel like the ZAC should never be in the fog here, in this particular case, against this particular comp. When you're playing against counters, since you can't really rely on your E as a first engage, it doesn't matter whether or not enemies see you, because the enemies are not scared anyway by yourself. So you're either looking for flanks, starting with Q, or R flash, or Q flash, or whatever, or you're looking to be with your team as a peel, follow-up of Rakan engage, or as a zoner, because enemies will not be able to get in your Q range, and you start with your Q. But I feel like in this state, you never, like you would play like this against champions that don't bother you, right? Like if you're playing against immobile ADCs without supports that could cancel you or jungles that could cancel you, that's what you do. But in this, against this team comp, you never have any good angle with this positioning. Ah, he misses Q again, that's kinda sad. Like here he Q'd the same target twice again, unfortunately. And that happens to me a lot, so I can only feel his pain. Okay, here, since Xayah has nothing, I kinda dislike that because I guess he was just looking to peel the Talia. But here I feel like as ZAC, you want to wait before using your E. Like here, using your E max range is very rarely a good idea. You should play to gap close as much as possible before charging your E, unless you really can't, unless you have a very strong imperative that you need to use E right now, or for example, this Talia is going to die in 0.5 seconds and you really need to use your E now. But here, I feel like Talia is safe from Maokai if she just keeps walking in the same direction. Like, she's just safe from the Maokai, of course. So, Talia is not about to die here. Actually, she had to dodge Maokai R. So maybe I'm tripping. Maybe she was just about to die from Maokai. I don't know. But she has W. She has good range. I feel like she didn't need to do this. This step here. I don't know. So here it depends. Either he thought that Talia was about to die, and then, okay, it's right to press E here. But if Talia is safe here, you don't want to press E at this point. You want to gap close as much as possible. Okay. Then they are out. He keeps farming. Now they want to trade Dre for Nash. And it kind of worked, okay. I don't know how the blue team lets the red team do this, but okay. Now there's the big replay, okay. Then they get Nash, okay. They have Nash power spike. And when there is Nash power spike, especially, you want to play on lanes. I think you don't want to play in the fog, especially against their team, especially when there is Nash power spike, because you're looking to siege. So good siege as ZAC is that if you spot a local numerical advantage. So here, for example, they see, oh, there are 3 people mid and there is 1 people top. You're just looking to dive the guy that's in numerical disadvantage, if it ever happens. I don't know if they have the info here, but if they have it, you're probably not looking to E from the fog. You're just looking to straight up dive the guy. And you can just walk to the turret and start with a Q spell, especially like if the Jace was a Xayah. Here, since it's Jace, he can still, you know, E from the fog. But if it's Xayah, he has to start with Q. He doesn't want to E the Xayah from the fog. Okay, they got the T2s. Okay, they didn't get T2 mid. Okay, in this situation, they see that K'Sante is still busy with the bot wave. Rel is a bit late to roam here. So there is a small window where they dive this guy if they have a good setup. How do you get a good setup against Xayah? Well, you don't commit with your E, as we said. So here, the ZAC player will get here first. And if you start to try and dive the Xayah with Q, she will have to use R on your Q, and then you're safe because you keep your E to E out. So you either burn Xayah R, or if she doesn't press it and is hit by your Q, you can CC chain her and kill her. And you get your break. So here, what I would do is to just E for movement. I just E towards mid, because I see that they are late bot lane. Right here, right? There's a wave coming mid. Maokai is out, has to go from bot to mid, so he has to do the long pathing. Rel is still here. You have faster roaming. So here, as ZAC, you just E here, and the turret is gone. Xayah can't approach it, or you just Q her and forces her to R. And you're safe because you can E out still. That's what I would do. Same thing, we see that E charge again. I just disagree with it. I mean, in this case it's against Rel, so it's doable. I think you should primarily focus on Q flash engage. Okay. Okay, now we have this fight where Xayah got caught, basically. That's also why I don't like being in the fog, is because in this situation you're just slower to peel your lies. If you're stronger at counter engage, if you're already with your team. Unfortunately, he misses Q, and now he's pretty much useless. I mean, he was able to R everyone at least. They are going to hard lose the fight. Okay. Also, yeah, I didn't talk about this, but in this game he bought Lucidity Boots and then he sold it for tabbies, which I kind of disagree with. If you think you got the wrong boots, like I have nothing against building tabbies against their team. I think it's good, but if you got the wrong boots, I think you should not sell them. You should just buy more armor if you want to get armor. Yeah, unfortunate fight. Just Xayah getting caught, basically. The ZAC here just had to be with his Xayah, but probably still wouldn't have worked. He has better peeling if he does so, so maybe it would have helped them. Now they're gonna have to play from behind. He probably didn't get this Drake. The ZAC player still has flash. Yeah, they want to catch the rel, and they managed to do it, actually. So that's really well played. I see how anything that worked. Did you guys see during the 33 minutes? Did you guys see any timing where the ZAC is from fog, is on people, and managed to secure a good engage with it? No, that actually never happened during the whole game. And that's just because of their team comp. So like if that kind of things like catches from behind, like here he's almost flanking the enemy team. Like here, if Rel doesn't go here, you can imagine a world where the ZAC flanks, starts with R flash, and it works. Or like he can flank with just displacing himself with E, but not relying on your E itself to engage. That's really like something very important that you kind of learn to do when you're an OTP, because you play ZAC no matter what, even against the counters. So here, I don't know why the red team is so shy. Like everybody is going out when they want to fight, I think, because it's 4v5. There's kind of miscommunication here. Because everybody is so shied away when it's 4v5. I don't know who is right. Maybe they lose the 4v5 and they know it, because it's only a rel support. In which case, everybody should go out. But here, there's just miscommunication. It's kind of unfortunate. Don't have much to say. Here they're just waiting. Okay, here we see the same thing again. Like, stop trying to be from the fog. I think here you should just play like a Maokai. You just play as a tank. You're front. You prevent the enemy's engage, and you're looking for engages with different angles than E. Like here, ZAC should just mirror Maokai's gameplay. Or Kazante gameplay. Okay, here this guy gets caught. I don't know where the ZAC was. I think they didn't know. I mean, he was a little bit too far, but here's Aatrox's mispositioning. And then they're fighting 4v5. So again, Again, we see the main problem. So here, what can you do as ZAC optimally? Yeah, I mean, here you don't have anything. Okay, maybe I think he used flash then R. Yeah, I think he doesn't R flash, he flash R. You always want to R flash. I don't know, maybe he R flash. I didn't see. Yeah, always R flash, not flash R. Because enemy has less chance to react. Okay, he can't do much. His Aatrox got caught, then Xayah went in. He didn't have anything. And then I would say you try to steal the Nash when you have this situation. I think you should try to steal it. Even though you're playing against Maokai, I think you have... as ZAC, you really have good steal angles, even without vision. Unless you think you're going to lose the game. But here you don't... I think he didn't have passive. Never mind, he had passive. Maybe he doesn't want to lose passive. I understand. I would try to steal, but... kind of solo queue play, I guess. Okay, now they are fighting for soul. So again, we don't see the synergy, like the Rakan ZAC synergy. We always let the ZAC engage, and I disagree with that. But this time it was on a rel, so it actually succeeds. Was it on a rel actually? Okay, it was a max range E. These kinds of max range E rarely succeed. I think in this game, Cuzz just tries to use fog too much. Like, fog has its limits. You don't need enemy team to not have vision on you to get good engages. You can instead walk in and, you know, be a front tank, and you don't need to be outside of vision to get good engage as ZAC. That's really... it's not necessary. If you use fog too much, you will just reduce some of your angles. I mean, they don't even win this, unfortunately. So yeah, he engaged on like Rel plus Cassante. So it's not like you don't really care about CCing these champions. Is enemy going to end here? Okay, they almost end. Here the game is almost over, to be honest. I don't think it's worth reviewing the rest. We're just going to go through the rest real quick. For tower defense, I mean, you're playing against Jace, so it's kind of hard. Same thing, you're looking to start with your Q if you want to do anything. You're probably waiting that enemy gets to your Nexus turret before doing anything. So you're probably just waiting. Okay. Try to catch the rel. Doesn't work. Now the steal is failed. He has to flash out, and now he's useless for the rest of the game because he doesn't have flash. No flash against this team comp, you can't do anything. So it's kind of unfortunate because this game we didn't see any good flash engage from the ZAC, and I feel like that's the only way to express your champion against this team comp. Like, you can still play, but you just rely on your flash CD. You have to just engage when you have your flash up, or you engage on top of Rakan engage. But we didn't see a single like R flash or Q flash engage during the game. Okay, GG. Anyway,